Just get them
Starting
outtakes, bro.
from now, man. Yeah.
What does he want to see? Wants to see the, the no hand thing.
He had the bell like this, and he was doing it, and the bell was balanced, bro, with weights each side.
Where is it? It's this one, isn't it? Yeah,
you need to put that clip up on the
120 kilos.
That's superhuman, bro.
Crazy,
bro.
Huh? How that not? Just balance, innit, bro? Just balance.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Focus, balance.
Focus.
Yeah, technique, mobility, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Does it take a lot of training? It must do.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. You got to. One of the main things about training, but even in life, we call it in training. We call it progressive overload. If a good thing about barbells and weights is that you can adjust the weight by 1 kilo more every time. Or like, you know, when you go on the machines, you can change the little clip.
Oh yeah.
So every time you go back in, you can go a bit harder and get stronger. And when it's to do with calisthenics, you can't change your body weight. It is what it is. Yeah. So if you can't pull up, you can't pull up.
True.
So it's a bit harder in that sense. So yeah.
You're weighing like 90 kg. You gotta be able to lift that 90.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was when I was in shock.
Bro, we did some mad shit.
Yeah,
we're pushing the limits all the time.
Yeah, man. Because even like, what other training stuff you guys do? Just like,
so you I started with MMA, to be honest. So then I was a bit of a weapon, but at the same time I was getting in trouble. Do you know what I mean? When I left the uni, went into the working world to make money. Nobody's interested in trouble there. Everyone just wants to make money. So I was like, okay, like I don't have to look over my shoulder no more. I can focus on making money. So I went into job in marketing, wore suits to work and all that stuff. And I went up the ladder quite quickly, making really good money by the time I was 25. And then I just woke up in bed one day. I really hated my job. You know, the politics of work and whatnot, you know, like arguing with people about this and that. They're not doing their job and then you don't get your stuff, you get told off. And all the politics. And I woke up in bed and I was just like, is this going to be my life till I'm 80? Is this what life is? And I was like, nah, fuck life if that's what it is. And all the way along, like I said, I was training and I was teaching boxing classes in gyms after work and stuff like that.
Oh, right. So from training to boxing, you actually got into teaching it as well. Yeah,
so I was teaching classes on side, doing marketing in offices, and I'd come out and go to different gyms and I'd teach classes. And then eventually when I woke up and I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life like this. This is not living. Even though I've got money, it's not making me happy. It's not filling the void in my heart. So then I decided to try and do full time on the fitness thing. And around about then, I was getting into calisthenics. And that was like 12 years ago. So nobody was doing that stuff back then. You know, hanging off things, flying and muscle ups and all that. But because I'd done training since I'm 7 years old, I was athletic. So I could do it, but my form was terrible. I just kept working on it. And then a lot of the people, again, these are people from gangs or from the road, but we'd come to the parks where the calisthenics bars are there, but it's free. You couldn't afford the gym necessarily or whatever. So this community would start forming of people training outside together. And even though they were road, they had something positive to focus on. And so actually it brought us, a lot of us out of that mindset, and it gave us family that had a purpose that wasn't just defending each other or starting turf war or whatever it was. It's like our gang, your gang, this, that. It was just about calisthenics.
It was about, and also improving yourself at the same time, self-improvement.
Exactly. Which is also different to the MMA, because when you train in fighting, the only way you know that you're good is when you fight someone else. You have to spar someone to get an idea of how good you are. When you do calisthenics, your person in the mirror is your target to beat. You want to get better than yourself every day. You want to do the moves better and feel better doing them. And
how did you improve yourself? Like through how did you improve your form? Was other people helping you out at the time? Was it doing thing?
Well, none of us knew what to do because back then nobody was at a really good level. So we were the pioneers in this country basically. We copied it from the people in America, like Hannibal for King, Bar Stars, a few old names like that. There were people doing workouts in prisons. When they came out, they were doing it on the street and putting it on YouTube, and we were like, wow, so just copying all these movements. Then the culture grew around it. We organised some events in calisthenics, and we got all the people from across England all to one place in London, in Primrose Hill, in Camden.
Nice area.
We held a couple of events there, like competitions. And people still formed crews. You know, it's natural. I just think people just like to form
people
little
just group up and
groups. But the difference was the groups didn't come and be like, looking at each other like, like there was some kind of superiority thing. Everyone was like, yo, you do this thing as well, like that. So it was really good, man. Like 500 people turned up in a day.
Oh.
We got, because I was working in marketing before, I knew how to get things sponsored. So I got some companies to give us prizes.
Oh, so was this your tournament that you used? So you created the tournament?
We worked the tournament. Okay, yeah. It's probably the first one in the world, to be honest, man, because it was 2012, a long time ago.
And then from there, you got everyone together now. Everyone's in there. There's 500 people there. Talk me through like a day in that tournament. Like, how was it?
Even still, even though you want to keep out the secularization or the segregation, it comes in at some point. So there was two types of calisthenics at the time. There was one, it was emerging, where people would do 360 spins. You've seen all that stuff where they're spinning around the bar and flips and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've seen,
And you know, like the stepping on the stepping pull-ups and all that kind of stuff. No. You know what I'm talking about, yeah. So just artistic stuff.
Okay.
And then there was like heavy repping. So it's like just go boom, 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 and just like getting jacked up and doing it with weights and stuff. And then these two forms of calisthenics split, because the people that did reps, their goal was to just get strong and big. And the people that did spins and everything, they didn't really care about that. They cared about flying.
Oh, so it was more like an art form to them.
Acrobatic, that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
So the two people had a philosophical standoff in the sense that that's not calisthenics, this is calisthenics. And I was like, flipping out, it's only just started and there's already argument about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so what side was you more on though?
I was in the middle, bro. That's what I mean. I was trying to be diplomatic. I was like, it's all just do what you enjoy, man. Why do you have to cuss what other people are doing? Just enjoy what you're doing.
So how do you grade, like, if somebody won each round, like, was there some...
That's what started the beef.
Because
we didn't know how to judge it. So we got some of the older heads in the community. When I say older, I mean just they were actually just older in age. So because we were younger then, we kind of just naturally look up to who's a bit older than you. So we put them as 3 judges. But then they couldn't decide who won because there was no criteria and there was no judging like qualification or anything like this. So we put it to the crowd and said, everyone had like a minute or 2 on the bar to do whatever they want. And then whoever was doing all the spins and everything else, of course, the crowd went wild for that because they never saw it. Anyone who went there and just did reps of muscle ups, everyone was like, you know what I mean? So then the people that did the most acrobatic stuff, that person, or the one that did it the best, he won. But then the people that do all the hardcore reps, they were technically they were stronger and been doing it for longer. And I think they got a bit upset that somebody that just was messing around spinning won a competition when they've been repping and they were strong and everything.
They've been putting in their eyes, they were putting in real work.
That's like, it. And they were right. They were right. It takes longer to build what they had built than what the other person did. But still, it's like, you can't be that competitive that, bring the issue to the table. It's the first event that's ever happened. It was all done in goodness. But still, it managed to go like this.
Managed to divert.
And still to this day, it's like that. There's a group of people that only do weighted strength calisthenics. And
when you say with the weight, so they had like they're wearing weights on their arms and body weights.
You add the weight to your weight belt.
Right, okay.
Pull-ups with that, or just show off really hard strength moves, like one-arm pull-ups, things like that.
Yeah. So what's your style more at the moment then?
I do a mix, but I don't really do this spinning stuff anymore. The acrobatic stuff, when you learn that, a lot of the time you'll spin around and hit your arm on the bar like that, on the metal bar. Ooh. And some people they're swinging, they're doing a front flip and catching the bar without touching the ground, like gymnastics, but on concrete, bro, with metal bars outside in the park.
That's a madness.
And I saw one guy try something like this once, and then his face came that close to the bar, and then he went like that. And I thought he'd hit it, but he just missed it. And I was just like, I'm never doing. As you get older, the risk is too much. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So from there now, like when you were doing the tournament's done. After that, like what was your goal after that point, or what was going on there?
I think I went onto Instagram at that time, and back 10 years ago, Instagram was not big for that. So I got pretty popular quite quickly, because when you put content out that's niche, and Instagram was just firing up, loads of followers start coming in. So I don't know. I don't know exactly how many, but maybe I got like 10K within 6 months or something.
Wow. Okay. And you was just posting like training videos, the calisthenics,
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now I have like 85K or something. But I've been on there 10 years, bro. I've been grinding. And still,
that's what I'm saying. It's not
not that much. No, but it's still not that much, is it? If you consider that
It's a lot to some though.
It is.
You know what I mean?
And it's good. It's good because I can run my business off it. I think people in fitness need it as a kind of portfolio.
Yeah.
But there's some people, like there's these sports channels now, like Sports Center and stuff. I don't know if you've seen them. They put up wild stuff on there. I've seen like 5 of my friends have been posted on there in the last couple of months, and they went from under 100K to 300, 400K in one day.
So all it takes is one.
It just takes
someone to just post you up there.
Kingmakers now, because you can't make yourself on there because you can't get the exposure because it's too saturated. There's too much content on there. So you need to be made by someone. Someone can make you a king, but then the problem is what that's led to is this culture where I posted something the other day and I took it down because it started getting bare. Like, you know, I like to stoke the fire a bit sometimes, even though
it's controversial.
It's controversial.
So what was the post said?
Basically, I was on Sports Center. There was a video of a guy jumping over a fence to get his ball, and this dog was chasing him, and it was very funny. And someone in the comments, it might have been a bot, but it said, "Make me famous. I'm too pretty to work."
I've seen it.
And it had 600 or something likes, bro. And I was like, no, this is what's wrong with society, bro. Like, so I posted that and said, this is what's wrong with it. You know what I mean? So nowadays, people think, oh, if I get famous on TikTok or Instagram, I don't have to work and do everything that other people do. But the problem with that is that they're too entitled over, I was born looking this way, or let me try and take a shortcut.
But for me, there's no shortcuts though.
There isn't.
Because anything that, even with TikTok, at some point you have to start posting the content on there. You have to be posting consistently as well.
As well, yeah. But then, you know, this led to a deeper conversation in the end. Yeah. So basically, you know, what the issue is with it is, if you want someone to make you and you don't want to make yourself, what this means is you don't want to work. And somebody commented on the post when I put it up, I don't want to be famous, but I don't want to work either. And I said, listen, how do you think your food gets on your plate and how society functions? And then they were like, yeah, but I don't like my job, this and that. And somebody said, yeah, well, you should get a job that you have a passion for. And that sounds reasonable, right? Everyone should try and find a job that gives them passion and they want to work for. But let me tell you something a bit deeper than that. Yeah, that's still a problem, because not everyone can do something that is passionate for them. Because what about the people that have to clean public toilets? If nobody does that, there's a problem. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, we're lucky. We're really lucky if we can do a job where we're passionate about it. But what we should be more passionate about is serving people, is serving each other. And the person that's cleaning the toilets, they're not doing that because they're passionate about it. I mean, you might have to be.
Hey man,
you might have a strange fetish or something. You know what I mean? Like a
cleaning public toilets.
Like, I like seeing public toilets.
Or they might like seeing clean. They might have OCD for cleaning. Do you know what I mean? But
hey, it's true.
I'm saying in general, this person, you know why they do that? Because they're serving their family. That's what I'm saying. And what overrides their need to have gratification from their job is the gratification of feeding my family. That's serving. Yeah. And every person on this, I'm gonna sound like a preacher in a second, like some, you know what I mean? But
we want it. We're here for
you know what I mean?
It's
the God talk coming. Yeah. But like at the end of the day, everybody's constitutional position is to serve. Even the president of America, he's not a master, bro. His job is to serve the people. You know what I mean? So even the highest executive in the world,
whether they do a good job or not is a different story.
But his position is to serve. That's what his role is. It's not his role to lord it over us. And he's the highest executive position in that country. So people need to get it in their heads that if we start serving each other better, the world can become better from that. But at the moment, everyone's so centered in themselves that they need to enjoy what they're doing. And I want to be paid more for this. And and this word "I" keeps coming up, but there's no selflessness. And and then it's a hard concept to grasp. But how can you come upon the desire to be selfless? You have to understand the concept of God. And when I say God, I don't mean any particular name, because if we point at the same thing, if you say it's someone that's red with a mustache and I say no, it's pink with a tail or something, it doesn't matter what concoction you have in your head. You're pointing to this same power. You know what I mean? You're pointing to you can call it the cause of all effects, right? The source of all inspiration, the source of all creation, the source of everything. Then you have some atheists who might want to say it's all coincidence. And they can have that opinion. But there is definitely divine orchestration and engineering happening. And whatever is making that tick, I'm calling that God. And I'm saying we all came from that. And we all have a fraction of that awareness and consciousness. And when we turn our face towards our similarities and why we should serve each other, I feel like that's where all the goodness comes. So the reason why I'm happy in my job now is not because I get to go on Instagram and show off like, oh, I can do hundreds of kilos of squat without holding the bar. That's not the point. The point is that I can inspire people, and then when they come and learn from me, I see the change in their how they are. I don't know if you know about people who have injuries and stuff, and I help them with that as well.
Oh no, yeah. Talk a bit about that as well.
I do like injury therapy, rehab, mobility stuff. I coach other therapists and coaches in it. And if you see someone come in and they've got an injury, generally, even though they're not trying to be moody with you, they still are. There's something. They got a chip on their shoulder because they're hurt. It's like an animal wounded, walking around with a wound, and it's always irritable. You know what I mean? You know how it is. Or if you're sick,
it's true.
And when you help that person, you see the change, and they start smiling because the pain's gone, and they're like, oh, "I'm relieved. I'm relieved." You know what I mean?
Is it like more physical training that you go through, or is it more mindset as well?
Mixture of everything. So you can do breath work, meditation, but majority it comes from the physical angle first, because that's what I'm qualified in, that's what I do. But then when you teach that stuff in the same way, so there's this thing, I do a lot of yoga and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen
talk about that in a bit. But if you consider the physiology affects the psychology and the other way around. So if you sit like this and you're feeling sad, you're gonna stay sad. But if you put your arms up like this and you go like this, it's really hard to stay sad, because your physiology commands a different feeling in your body and nervous system, different hormones and stuff. You know what I mean? So the whole point of yoga, I guess, a lot of people think that it's stretching and all these weird positions and whatnot. Right? That's only one part of the whole process of it. The process is actually free of dogma. So it's not it comes from it's a practice that comes from the Hindu religion or the Hindu philosophy, but it's free of dogma in the sense that it's just supposed to bring you closer to yourself and in union with the divine. But the divine is yours to choose what you call it. But the process, it's a process that any individual can do. So if I said to you, if I said to you, how can I reach God, or how can I reach my true self or my higher self or the divine? You might say you could try gospel, or you can try listening to this, or you could try praying or doing this. But all these things, they have, I'm not saying they're bad or wrong or good or anything. I'm just saying that they have philosophy to them that has to be explained for someone to get into it. Now, when you do yoga, it's pragmatic. It means
practical.
It's practical. Yeah. And there's just 8 steps to it. Yeah. The first
is in your book as well.
This is in my book. Yeah.
Tell the name of your book as well.
It's called New Age Yoga. I kind of regret calling it that because people, this New Age word, has been associated with a lot of bad things recently, and I don't like a lot of this hyper new age spirituality either, because it's not.
Why was it? Why do you regret calling it New Age?
Because it's New Age is being more associated with occult and paganism nowadays, and that's it's a really common misunderstanding that Hinduism is a pagan religion. It's not. Even going into the whole idol worship thing, it's a difficult concept to understand, because what we're saying is there is one supreme God or one supreme divinity. But if you consecrate something with God's name or with thoughts of God enough, you can kind of draw God's energy into it. So we're not saying this is the thing. We're saying, just like if you have a church with Christ on the cross, if nobody worships in that church, God will not be present in that temple, in that church. But in the Bible it says, where 2 or 3 gather in my name, that's where I am, right? So my point is that God is where he's remembered and where he's served by his devotees and where they're chanting his name with glory. You know what I mean? He comes where
in certain cases,
yeah. But in that sense, I'm saying some places will be more embodied with the power of the Holy Spirit than others.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So we're bringing the Holy Spirit into an idol, but it doesn't mean the idol itself becomes God. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a reference point, space into it. It's a complex thing, but so with the yoga, we'll go back to that because that's less of Hinduism and more pragmatic. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The first two principles are abstinence and observation, which means don't do things that are bad for you and do things that are good for you. Not so much in the lines of commandment, but more like, listen, keep your hygiene. Don't go around doing violent things. So don't be violent to yourself and other people.
It's more about morals, having a moral
kind of practice in your life, moral compass. Then it goes to this thing called asana, which is doing the stretches and all that stuff. But why do we do that? Not to become powerful or to become gymnastic. We do that simply so you can sit on the floor in certain yogic positions. So when you sit on the floor for a long time, you cross your legs like this, and you're leaning forward like this. Yeah. And your back starts to hurt in your hips. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in yoga, we have certain seats where everything is touching the floor, even the knees and the ankles. Right? So then there's no pressure in your joints because you're just sitting like that. It just feels like you're seated really easily. Why do you want to sit like that? So you can meditate. So first we do these stretches, and then we sit down and we do breath work. And the breath is connected to the mind because you can't change your heart rate with your brain. You can't tell it to change. You can't change your temperature. You can't change your metabolism.
With your mind.
With your mind. You can't tell it, burn that faster. Yeah. You can't tell, I'll warm myself up. You can change all those things with your breath, though. And you can change your breath with your mind.
Sometimes your mind is like, it's a powerful tool. So in itself, I'm not saying physically you can, but if you're like, say I'm walking somewhere and it's cold, it's at night, and you kind of imagine like a warm place.
Nah, that's true. That's very true.
Some situations like that, yeah.
But I mean an actual physiological change. So breathing, it happens naturally, but you can also change it on purpose. And what the yogis did, they figured out certain breathing patterns that create different physiological effects.
Right. Okay.
And one of them is to stabilize the mind. So if you notice, in every different state that you're in, let's say you're in lust, let's say you're in anger, in fear, or you're concentrating, the breath changes. When you concentrate, you hold your breath. When you're in anger, your breath gets short and you don't breathe properly. Yeah. So the thing is, the breath reflects the state of the mind. But when you breathe nice and calmly, the mind follows that thing. Oh, okay. So we sit down after the stretching and we do breathing. And there's a big science about, that takes you a bit deeper into how the breath relates to energy and everything else. But just to be brief on it, because I want to ramble on it. But then we go to the fifth step, which is withdrawal of the senses. Because our senses are constantly operating this way. I'm taking in information from my eyes and my ears and everything. Just shut that off. Stop taking stuff in and just be with yourself inside. Wow. Next step is concentration, which means to focus all of your attention on one thing. You could put a little candle in front of you and just look at the flame or think about your breathing. Then the next stage is meditation. So the difference between concentration and meditation, right? Concentration means I'm thinking about one particular thing and other thoughts are coming in and I'm going to stop those. I'm going to concentrate. Yeah. But meditation means to let the thoughts come and just observe them without judging them. It's difficult.
Okay, yeah.
So that means if I see someone walk past me wearing pink with a big afro, like punk hairstyle, and they're not wearing any shoes and they're singing some mad song, I'm going to say, this guy is this and this is this. And I'm going to start thinking he's this and this and this.
Yeah, not to judge.
Just to watch, just to look at it. All right? That's what it is. And it's very difficult to do that because the nature of the mind is to judge. Is to say that is that and that is that. So you want to get to this point where you're meditating. Now, if you can sustain that state of mind where you're not judging and you're just letting the thoughts pass without holding on to any of them, then you will reach the last stage, which is called samadhi. It means bliss state. So it means a state where you are just human being, not human doing.
Oh, wow. Right?
So you're just sitting there. Okay. And if I could do it with you in 5 minutes, we'll do it another time. Maybe sitting there and you'll just be like this. And you'll feel like there's a big bubble around you, but everything's still. And anything that enters it, you can feel it. is very, very intense.
It's peace. It's a peacefulness. Peace. Yeah.
But there's no extraness to it. It's not like, oh, I feel like amazing. It's nothing like that. It's just I feel clarity, absolute clarity and stillness, and everything is HD and crystal clear to me. Then allow your problems to come in, and you can deal with them properly in that state.
Yeah,
you see what I mean?
Wow. Okay. So that's like during one session.
Well, that's the whole point of yoga. Yeah, but you, see, if I say to you, let's sit down.
How long does that usually take? Like the whole process from 1 to 7.
It takes years of practice. You see what I mean? So the point is, nowadays we're not or if you then go back to Hinduism, if you're in that meditative state, the point then is to use that state to connect with God. Right. Because in that state of non-judgment and just being you, you're the closest you are to your spirit, which is non-judgmental. It's everybody's equal on the spiritual plane. So when you're in that state, you're in a more pure state to commune with God. So you're supposed to use that to go deeper and to try to find God in that state. And that's what I mean. It's free from dogma, because nobody told you which God to believe. They just said, follow this process, which every human can do. And you'll find yourself in a place where you can touch God a bit closer than if you just sat down to try and do it now.
It's more like for religious, some people use it for more religious purposes.
I see it. Yeah. In Hinduism, we use it for a religious purpose.
I have a question. So does that mean then a newborn baby is the closest thing to that state?
Yeah. Children, they're so pure, isn't it?
They just got into the world and have no judgment or anything.
They're pure, aren't they? Because they're not. When we don't judge, we don't place our own ego on other people, basically. Because that's what judging is. It's me saying something. There's something about me which thinks it's more superior, that I can say what is and what isn't. But only God can say what is and what isn't. So why do we? Who's going to take instruction from me? Why does anyone care about that? But me projecting my instruction on other things, whether I say them or not, that's still me trying to, interfere in it. So when I get rid of that and I just take myself out of being attached to this material plane, I can more easily come to that. I
think nowadays it's even harder nowadays, because there's so many ways to be distracted. And 100%. How do you go about that? Because obviously you got a big following as well, so you must get a lot of messages, inquiries, and stuff like that. Maybe a lot of things are going off for you. How do you stay focused? And
I was gonna say I get some mad messages sometimes, man. Yeah, it's just real funny ones.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I don't think I don't feel like I'm ever pulled off focus, because in my heart, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because we have a concept in India called dharma. It means righteous duty. And when we say righteous, I mean that there's a certain level of where everybody knows what is right and what is wrong, and we don't need someone to tell us. And if we say that there's an element of God within us, within our heart, there's a fragment of that that's been placed in us, or the voice of it is
God's
in our
image,
heart. We're made in God's image, and that the kingdom of heaven is in our heart. This kind of thing. There's an element. We're not the same in quantity as God, but we are the same in quality of the soul. The soul is the same in quality of God, but the quantity of it is not, because God's the supreme. But we are like the children, so we're a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So that bit of us in us, that's divine. That's what I'm saying. And yoga is supposed to bring you to that part, because the rest of it is all crude and material and poo and we and you know what I mean? All this nonsense.
Human.
You know what I mean, though?
At the end of the day.
All this human nonsense stuff, aggression and attachment and greed and sins. That's the other nature of us. But there's a part of us which is divine and pure and cannot be soiled. And that bit is linked to God.
But some people choose. Which side do some people tend to go for is the question, though.
Yeah, Native Americans say everybody has two wolves inside them, good one and a bad one, and it depends which one you feed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, what we're saying is there is a higher calling for every person, and in order to get in touch with that, you have to spend time alone in solitude and not be scared of that, because you can't distract yourself with other people and everything all the time. You have to take a practice. It doesn't have to be yoga, but a practice that connects you with the divine. Like I said, gospel is a really good one. We like chanting. in
India. Prayer as well.
Prayer, exactly. So we say, in India, we say prayer is talking to God and meditation is listening to him.
Okay. Oh, yeah. It's kind of true, actually, yeah.
See what I mean? So you're always asking, give me my daily bread. But he's already giving. Everything's being given.
He already knows what you ask before you pray.
He already knows. So why do we ask for it? It's just us being silly is one thing. But like I said, I go back to the service. It's the main point I want to put across today. If anything, what changed my life and took me out of all the bad things was stopping to do things for myself and to start to do it for other people and for God and for the whole. And
that was your main inspiration to
I just wanted to share. Yeah. I wanted to share all the joy I was getting from what I was doing, but still a part of my ego was attached to it. So I wanted to be like, I want to be recognized for it. And now I'm older. I'm like, I've got a world record. Let me tell you, like, do you know anybody's name from 100 years ago that has a world record? You can't tell me, can you? Nobody cares, bro. That's the fact. Yeah. Nobody gives a crap. And I don't give a crap 2 days after I got it either. I got it gassed when I got it. Then I was like, this doesn't mean anything. I worked this hard for this. It doesn't mean anything.
Why was that?
Because
we got 2 minutes.
It gives you a little bit of joy, but it doesn't it's not the true value of who you are, because anything we do in this material plane is transient. It's not forever. It's gonna change and pass.
Definitely you will be remembered on how much you've given to others.
That's it. 100%, my guy. He said it for me.
That's it.
And so when I lie down to die, you know why I'll be happy? Because I remember the faces of everyone that was happy when I served them and I helped them change their life. And that gave me purpose and meaning. But showing off and getting famous didn't give me, or getting a world record, it still didn't give me any meaning. But when I could pass something to someone else and I could see that I'd changed something, that gave me a reason for me to be here. That was outside of myself. Yeah. And the inspiration for that, for me, was spiritual, to do with God. And I'm saying other people might find another way, but I'm pretty much convinced that that way will still be biased towards who you want to help. But if you do it through this spiritual system of understanding God first, you'll see everybody as God's, or everybody as a part of God. Yeah. And then you'll do it indiscriminately. You'll help anyone and any being, because you'll see that by doing that, you're serving God.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
So, wow. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that knowledge.
No, you're welcome, bro.
I feel like more.
I feel like I should let you talk more, bro. I'm just gassing.
I understand the process more, man. But you know what? I would have liked to do like a longer version, but because the time and everything. But yeah, man, like to continue now a little bit, where can they find you on the socials? Where can they find you?
So on Instagram, I'm on Rix Official, RIX.official. To be honest, that's it. I'm going to start a YouTube channel soon.
Yeah.
So I think the quality of what you can give out there, like we're doing now, people have more attention for it. Instagram and TikTok and all of that, it's just like, it's dopamine hits.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm not a clown, basically. I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to help and give knowledge and share. You know what I mean? So
definitely shared some knowledge today, though. I'm sure that people can get inspired by it.
Yeah, hope so.
Yeah. 100%, man. Thank you for coming.
No, respect, bro. Yes. Thank you for having me here, man. God bless. Much love.